Hi, Miss Darlene. Thank you so
Hi.
much for helping with my project. Can you talk a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So let's see. I have lots of hobbies now that COVID has happened. I love playing the piano. I have a garden. I love gardening. Um, I've been growing tomatoes and cantaloupe and um, okra, squash. So I'm having a really good time with that. I'm beginning to work in the yard, so I love doing that. I started kind of doing some arts and crafts. So I'm enjoying this time. I'm finding things to do to stay occupied. And that's my new world now. It's my new life. And I'm enjoying it.
That is awesome. Yeah, I feel so fortunate that my children got to take piano lessons from you. I would have liked to have learned the piano too, but I think maybe sometime in the future. So about the gardening, do you have any suggestions for things that you could plant right now? As
Yes.
I planted earlier in the year, but then despite being at home all the time, I didn't take care of my garden and the weeds just got awful and everything. Anyway,
Well, it's a great time to plant tomatoes
okay.
and okra and types of beans or peas. I have some snow peas that I'm going to plant tomorrow. And watermelon is really good at this time. And cucumber. You can have a whole crop.
Well, that's really good. Um, yeah, I have just planted some of that this weekend, and I was thinking that maybe I was too late but you think it's still going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have like 4-inch tomato plants and now they're about 4 feet now. You know, they grow exponentially. I love it. I love it so much.
That's awesome. I have a fig tree. It's gotten really big, has lots of figs on it.
That's great.
Um, the year before last, in like July, every other day I could get a whole yogurt container of figs. If I beat the birds, that's the key part.
Yeah, yeah.
And then last year, all the figs like fell off before they got ripe.
Ah.
And so this year I was like, maybe it has to do with not getting enough water. So I started watering every day, and now the leaves are turning yellow. And I read
Oh,
that
yeah.
that could be because of overwatering.
Yeah, it is.
So take some skill.
Yes, it does. Trust me, it does. But it's fulfilling.
Yeah. So did you know that NASA is planning to send people back to the moon in 2024?
Found that out today.
Oh, you did? Um, so obviously, it's hard to imagine something being inspiring if nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
So what is NASA doing wrong?
Um, well, to me, the issue is that they're not playing a lot into social media. I don't think, because I never see any ads or anything really cool. But there were some videos that kind of incorporate everyday people. Because for me, um, as a teacher, I think of anyone who works at NASA to be these really smart people, and it's kind of hard to have conversations with. I know that sounds crazy, but it would be good if you can see some of the people or astronauts or anybody that works there, including themselves in videos and social media, and seeing that human side. Because we think these people work all day long, 24 hours a day. So,
Yeah, I mean, like the astronauts, did you know that they only have a 40-hour work week?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the rest of the time is, sleeping, personal time, exercise, that type of thing. But they're only scheduled like normal office hours.
Really? I didn't know that.
But I
Oh.
think it's probably like our 40 hours where you plan on 40 hours of work and it actually turns into 60.
Yeah, I know those days.
So what do you think about us going back to the moon? Is it something that you find exciting, or are you like, there's a pandemic going on? I mean, like, like, where are you on this whole thing?
Well, now that I know, and it's in 2024, that's something, that's a time in my lifetime that I'll be able to be a part of history. That's history making. So I think it's a great idea. I'm glad that I do know so that I can start preparing. Because now you told me about the astronauts working only 40 hours. And now I'm inquisitive, and I'll start going out and trying to read a couple of things about what's going on. Um, I get really interested in some of the CNN articles. I saw one today that it said that, or yesterday, that there are 32 communicating galaxies. Did you read that? You're
Uh-uh.
like, no.
I mean, I hadn't heard of that. Like, I mean, there's like so many galaxies out there, like thousands. But whenever you say communicating, what does that mean?
I don't know
Oh,
when. I'm gonna read that article, but I saw it. It was intriguing.
I'll have to look out for it.
I think it was yesterday that I saw it on CNN, or was it today? But I thought that was pretty cool.
And you know, do you know the last time we went to the moon?
Wasn't it like in? Wait a minute. We go to the moon off. Wait. Isn't there a moon? Isn't there something on the moon already? We just went.
Well, China landed a rover there last year. It's just a little robotic rover. The Israelis tried to land one. It unfortunately had a malfunction and crashed. The Indians also tried to land one last year, and it crashed. But the last time that humans have walked on the moon was 1972.
Okay. So it's been a while. It's time.
Yeah. And this time, you know, there's only been 12 people that walked on the moon. They were all men. And one of the objectives for the next time that we land on the moon is that there will be a woman that steps on the moon. So it'll be literally the first woman on the moon. I was just wondering if you thought that added something to it, or you're like, we should be past that, and you know.
No, I think that's great, especially a woman being on the moon. That's like girl power. Lots of girl power. That's awesome. Because I remember Neil Armstrong, and there's a couple other guys, I can't think of their names, they recently passed, that were on the moon. But I've noticed that some of the missions have included women, which is really good now. So every little girl's dream, you know, is to be somebody. These guys, these ladies that go into the moon could actually be mentors in the STEM area.
Yeah, definitely. How important do you think it is for people to be able to relate to the people they see in space, that they feel like, you know, that could be me? I mean, like, what does it take for somebody to look at that and say, that could be me, and for it to inspire them? I mean,
a successful moon travel, landing and walking, and being able to actually hear some of the stories of what happened and how they prepared. That's motivational.
And what do you think humanity looks like in like 500 years? Are we still just on the Earth and, you know, it's a little bit more developed? Or do you think that humanity will branch out beyond the Earth into the rest of the solar system, like on the moon and Mars and what have you?
I do. In the next 500 years, I can just imagine us or them or my great-great-great-grandchildren visiting families, their relatives here on Earth, and then maybe in Venus. I don't know if they can live on Venus, but another galaxy, anywhere. But they're not going to be here. It's going to be interchangeable, I feel, because we have that technology. We have that wisdom.
Are you familiar with SpaceX?
I've seen that word before. Is that the new space mission that President Trump commissioned? Or that's space? I've seen SpaceX, but I don't know what it is.
It's a company founded by Elon Musk, who's also founded Tesla.
Yes.
And he founded PayPal a long time ago, and what have you. And they, like, ever since rockets got started, they would use a rocket one time to launch people or a satellite into space, and they would throw it away. The space shuttle attempted to be reusable, but large parts of it weren't. and there's so much work that had to be done between missions that didn't save anything. But he's been reusing the first stage of the rocket. They build these rockets in multiple stages, and the first stage comes back and lands, and they refuel it, and they use it again. And recently, he launched 2 astronauts to the International Space Station, and it's a commercial rocket that he could sell rides to anybody on. And he has 2 other customers that have 2 other companies that have bought rides on it. And one of them's in talks with Tom Cruise to go up to the International Space Station to film a movie at some point.
So where is the National Space Center?
The International Space Station?
International.
Well, it's in orbit around the Earth. It's about 200 miles up. It goes around the Earth every 90 minutes. So, you know, actually it's in what's called free fall. So the space station is falling towards the Earth, but it's moving so fast forward that its fall matches the curve of the Earth, and it keeps missing the Earth. And that's why the astronauts are floating in it.
Oh my goodness. I remember seeing something where one of the Backstreet Boys or one of these guys, he's a celebrity, was going to the moon or going to the International Space Center. Do you remember?
Oh, really?
That? Yeah.
Well, there's been a few people that have bought tickets up there, and they've ridden Russian rockets to it. You know, I think it went anywhere from like 20 million to like 55 million tickets. So there's quite a bit.
I got to wait for 500 years, so it'll be $25 to go from here to the moon.
But the reason I mentioned SpaceX is because down there in Boca Chica, Texas, which is near Brownsville, they're building a brand new rocket that's going to be the biggest rocket ever built, but it'll be 100% reusable. So it'd be the cheapest per launch. It could launch like 100 people at a time. And the cost would be like maybe for a first class ticket around the world. So something kind of cheap. And they plan to use it for point-to-point travel on Earth. So you could travel from Houston to Beijing in like 40 minutes. You can use it to go into orbit. You can use it to land on the moon, and it could take you to Mars.
So time traveling is about to happen.
In the sense of crossing over time zones really quickly?
Yes.
Or?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Not going back in time. Forward in time. Different places.
Yeah. So, I mean, like right now you can leave for Beijing. It'll be like morning over there. You have a few meetings, do a little shopping, you know, have some native Chinese food. And then come back in your evening over there, and you arrive back here before this morning, and nobody know the wiser.
Whoa. Wow.
You may be a little tired, though.
Yeah, you do need your sleep.
You do need your sleep. It may take 40 minutes to get there, but then take 2 weeks to recover from it.
Yeah. You're funny, Nathan. Sorry for my interview. I'm on camera. You're recording. I forgot.
Yes, sorry. But anyway, he's planning to build 2 of these a week. Each could like fly 3 times a day. So we're talking about a fundamental shift in our capacity to access space. And this is actually happening right now. In the sense of they're building prototypes, testing them out. And he's talking about having people going around the moon in 2023. You know, the first like kind of uncrewed voyage to Mars in like 2022, and having a city on Mars by like 2050. So,
oh wow,
you know, it's like this next 10 years, I think is going to be a fundamental shift in what we see.
Definitely. Sounds like it. Wow. You have to research SpaceX.
So if it was safe and affordable, would you go to space?
Definitely. Because I've seen pictures, and I'm sure the pictures are already beautiful in space when you get a chance to see Earth and how everything is formed. But I know it has to be spectacular if you see it in person. You know?
Yeah, you know, you don't quite get the same emotional impact.
Yeah.
It's like seeing a tall building, and you take a picture of it and you send it to somebody and they're like, oh, but then you
Yeah,
stand next
that's
to the
cool.
building, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate your time. Is there anything you wanted to say before we finish the call?
I'm so glad we had an opportunity to talk after all these years. I'm kind of interested now, and I think I'm gonna start reading all the space articles again and look up SpaceX. I'm becoming knowledgeable. I didn't know these things before, and they're interesting because they can happen in my lifetime.
Yeah, it really can. I mean, just in like the next couple of years. NASA has a weekly email for educators called NASA Express.
Mhm.
And it has like all these great resources they send out each week. I'll send you the link to that
Oh,
to
that'd be
sign
great.
up.
That'd be
But
great.
I'll
Awesome.
go ahead and stop the recording then.
Okay.